the fact that the movie was made by a stunt guy. Like he knows the ins and outs. He's an expert. So of course he's going to make the best stunt movie.
Yeah.
Also, I think this John Wick alone is a great argument for stunt work Oscar. Like I don't understand why we don't have a stunt work Oscar yet. It's insane to me.
Nerdy and nice, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. We hope your spring is off to a wonderful start. There is a lot of stuff to get into today, news-wise, because CinemaCon just happened, and if the reactions from people there on Twitter are any indication, everything that's about to come out is going to be the greatest movie of all time. But we're going to try to sift through some of the details that came out of that convention about a lot of the things that we're hyped about, including some things that we're learning about for the first time. But before we get into any of that, Lacey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. We're a week out from being in Japan. Like this time next week, we're going to be in another country on the other side of the world.
Crazy.
Wild. Insane. Very crazy. Which one of our stories tonight is related to Japan.
Yep.
Interestingly enough. Yeah, I'm really excited. Thanks to everyone who's supported us that's made this trip possible for us to cover it for TRB, but also we're going to probably do some covering of nerdy and nice stuff because we're going to Disney. But yeah, we're not going to have an episode next week. So sorry in advance.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be taking the week off. No nerdy and nice next week, but we will return.
Yes.
But yeah, so before we get into any of the news stories and what's happening, obviously at the top, we just want to acknowledge the passing of legendary actor Val Kilmer. If you're around our age, you grew up with this guy in varying roles. I mean, we could run through them all, but obviously Top Gun, The Doors, Willow, Heat. I mean, this guy has done Tombstone. Yeah, he was Batman and Batman Forever, Doc Holliday and Tombstone. Just his resume speaks for itself. And he obviously had a lot of battles over the last 10 years or so with throat cancer, and all the reports that he succumbed to pneumonia actually at the age of 65. But we'll live on through all the movies because he is in a lot of classics, no doubt about it, and a great actor as well. I think underrated even, in my opinion. But yeah, rest in peace, Val Kilmer. And I know you and I, when the Willow follow-up came out, we obviously revisited the original Willow, and you had seen it for the first time, and you loved Mad Mardigan, his character there. And
well, I saw it like a long time ago that I didn't like. It was basically like the first time because I don't remember seeing it, but I saw it so long ago. But yeah, it was so good. It was such a good movie.
Yeah, so it definitely sad news to hear, but he obviously hasn't been himself the way we know him for a long time, though he seemed to have a very optimistic outlook on life. And I would recommend watching his documentary on Amazon about his life, which they used his son to sort of narrate as his voice because he has the same voice. But it's a very candid look inside his life in current times, and also reflect back on his career and him looking back on some decisions maybe he made and how he would do things differently. It's just a very cool human story, so definitely watch that to get an idea of what this guy wound up being all about. But rest in peace, Val Kilmer. Iceman, Doc Holliday, Batman. Just sad news. But he will live on.
I'm going to have to watch Top Gun Maverick this weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad he got to be in that. That was cool.
Me too.
Very cool.
Me too.
All right, Lacey, now it is time to get into the meat and potatoes in what's happening.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
So as John said at the top, there is so much news this week. Lots of stuff to talk about coming out of CinemaCon and surrounding CinemaCon. So we're going to kick it off with, of course, John's favorite topic on this show, I think, Superman. The Superman presentation and footage excites audiences at CinemaCon, featuring the trailer with a couple new shots, a BTS reel, and Gunn, and the main cast spoke for 30 minutes. There was also reportedly some good buzz in the room about the footage, which Variety kind of gave a rundown. I saw a bunch of different outlets being like, this is what we saw step by step, which makes me laugh because they're probably like sitting there like writing it down on a piece of paper what they saw.
Mhm.
Um, so you're the Superman guy. You're the most hyped
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
Are you feeling good about these reactions? Do you think they're a little overdone because people are there in the room and it's just like we've said that about Star Wars before, like when you're in the room, it has a different kind of vibe than if you're
Yeah.
watching it at home.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's certainly a bias to being there in the experience, with the big crowds and all that stuff, and you get swept up
Yeah.
in it. So you gotta sometimes tick yourself down a little bit. But well, I don't know. It's just I'm a big fan of connecting dots and finding patterns, and you're hearing a lot of the buzz from people out of that echo a lot of things we've been hearing already about Superman. There were some detractors who were saying like, there's too much crypto, but knowing, and we've talked about this, knowing how James Gunn is able to bring his characters to your hearts through his storytelling, including animals like Rocket in Guardians of the Galaxy, which is obviously a bit different than Crypto because I don't think Crypto is going to be speaking English or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I think we're going to fall in love with this dog. And I don't think James Gunn, like, he's a smart filmmaker. He's not going to do it in a way where he's like trying to get the dog loving audience in seats at the expense of Superman fans. Like I think he's going to balance it well. They're obviously going to showcase it, but he's going to do just the right amount of that of Crypto. But hearing all the positivity and him continually saying like we're telling a story about hope, about love, about the human spirit, it's like could this movie be coming out at a better time without getting
I
too
know,
deep on
right?
that? I feel
Mhm.
like people are on edge. People feel like we're sort of in this haze, and
Lost. Yeah.
there's the uncertainty. Not necessarily feeling very proud in some ways. And we're gonna get this version of Superman that is bright visually. They were saying there's a lot of red, white, blue in this, and I like the reclamation of that for something that is good. And I believe in his casting choices. I think Rachel Brosnahan is going to be a sleeper surprise out of this. I think people are really going to love her Lois Lane. And I'm curious at what Nicholas Hoult can bring with Luthor because it sounds like everything we're seeing and hearing is he's going to be just pure evil. Um, and I like that it's Lex Luthor, even though we've seen it before, because I think it's relatable. And then David Cornsweet's Superman. I think he's going to be great. So I am just as excited about it because I did see some people who have had reservations that I follow online that said like this movie's going to make $1 billion. Like lock it in, like it's going to be great. And I'm feeling even more hopeful and optimistic about it as we're now only about 3 months away.
Yeah. A lot of the quotes coming out of this presentation can't help but make you feel good. You had Guns telling people, "This is a movie that celebrates kindness and human love."
Yeah.
Like, how could you not like that? And then Lois Lane herself said, "These stories are at their core about the power of hope and the fight for good to conquer evil. That's always worth fighting for." I mean, come on. These quotes are like right out of what everybody wants to hear right now, what everybody's
Yeah.
hoping to get out of this movie. I did like the little confession from Nicholas Hoult who said, "I auditioned for Batman and Superman and I didn't get either." But he's so good. I watched Did you ever watch The Menu? Did you end up watching it?
Nope. Haven't watched it
Oh, you
yet.
gotta watch He's so good in that. He's
Oh, really?
very good in that movie. Um, and from that movie, I've had it kinda stuck in my head, like, that's who we're getting is Lex Luthor, like, this person
Oh,
that's able
cool.
to give
Oh,
these
he plays the
really
bad. He's the bad guy in that.
No,
Oh,
kind of.
okay.
No. Ish. Maybe. I would say he has bad tendencies,
Mhm.
but you have these moments where he's so righteous in what he's doing that you're like, that's Lex Luthor. He thinks what he's
Yeah.
doing is right, despite the horrible things that are then coming from those, decisions, the consequences,
I
if you will.
I think, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with this Lex Luthor, but I think Lex Luthor, I don't think it's that he thinks what he's doing is right. I think he just wants to own everything. It's very interesting. That's all I'm gonna
Sure.
say.
Yes, yes. I understand what you're saying there. I was saying that it's gonna be an interesting turn of the character from Nicholas Holt's perspective because the character I've seen him play had those
Oh yeah,
tendencies of like,
yeah,
you know, what I'm doing is right. Oh, of course I'm right. Um,
yeah.
but at the same time, his character in the menu is so selfish, and I think that's strongly what Lex Luthor is.
Hmm.
So, it's a really good kind of but still there are moments of vulnerability, so I'm interested to see if we're gonna get that from Lex Luthor at all. If there's gonna be those moments that you're like, "Oh, this guy kinda sucks, but, like, I kinda feel bad for him." No, I don't. No, I don't feel bad for him. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I
Kinda
don't
like
want to feel
King
bad for Lex Luthor.
but I'm saying, like, Kingpin is an example in Daredevil, when I was watching
Hmm.
Daredevil with Kingpin, with Vincent, D'Onofrio.
Hmm.
Early on with Daredevil, he's a terrible, terrible, terrible person. Like, he's an
Hmm.
awesome villain. He's so good to hate. But in the beginning, you're kinda like, "Oh, that I kinda get why he's a villain. His life kinda sucks, like, that sucks."
Hmm.
But then he, like, makes that switch, and you're immediately like, "Okay, I feel guilty for ever feeling bad for this guy. He is so bad." Like, I kind of expect us to have that moment with this.
Yeah, and look, I always say this, whether it's when we're talking Star Wars on TRB or what, in order to get the most out of your heroes, you need to sell the audience on your villain.
Yes.
And like Christopher Reeve's Superman probably doesn't work if Gene Hackman doesn't crush Lex Luthor, you know? And I think it looks like they're going in a pretty dark path with this Luthor, like this obsessive, just manic, almost psychotic behind the scenes Luthor. And if he's able to deliver, that's only going to lift up our uh, care and concern for
Hopeful
Superman.
heroes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I'm so pumped about this movie. I'm very excited, and I'm glad it wasn't a, oh man, the audience like was quiet. You know, it sounded like there was real buzz in the room, where even detractors were saying like, man, this, I think they got Superman right here. So James
I
Gunn,
hope so
man.
too because the previous CinemaCon, they did, in previous years, they did Top Gun: Maverick, and they showed, like, the whole movie basically to CinemaCon, and the people that watched it then were like, "This is the greatest movie I've ever seen," and then it came out, and it was the greatest movie I've ever seen. So I'm
Unbelievable.
hoping it's on par with
Yeah,
that honesty, but as we
for
know with
sure.
the internet, there is a lot of hyperbole, there is a lot of, like, "This is an absolute masterpiece," hashtag "greatest movie ever," hashtag "change my life," hashtag and then you see it and you're like, "Why would this person say this?" Oh, they wanna be in the pull quote. Oh, they wanna be on the back of the DVD.
You
So,
know,
I'm hoping.
I I tweeted this, and I don't even know why I did, but I'll say it on the pod. Like, I noticed like there's always certain phrases that people use in these reviews, and
An
nowadays the
absolute
way,
blast.
yeah, well, the way the industry is today, and maybe one day we'll talk about that whole report about ValNet and how they pay these people, and I know firsthand in trying to be involved with some of that, that you get a lot of people with not very much experience, and they read articles and they regurgitate the same verbiage. And I don't know why I see this all the time. And most recently, it was about Rachel Zegler and Snow White, which has fallen off a cliff since we last talked about it, I guess. But they said like Rachel Zegler gives a powerhouse performance, and I'm like, everyone's giving a powerhouse performance now. That the point, like the word doesn't mean anything anymore. Like
Well,
a
masterpiece
powerhouse
is the word that
performance,
people usually use. "Oh, it's an absolute
or a
masterpiece."
master class in horror, or a master
Yeah.
class in sci-fi.
A
Yeah, it's all those
cinematic
buzzwords.
journey.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of cinematic journeys, we're about to go on another one in July 31, 2026. I was laughing the other day about this is a side tangent. You ever seen Park and Rec?
Oh yeah.
with Aubrey Plaza where one of my favorite episodes is the episode she makes all the appointments on March 31st because she thinks it doesn't exist. So
Oh,
then
yes. Yeah.
Ron's like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, I told everybody March 31st because I thought there was no 31st in March." And he goes, "How many appointments do I have?" And she's like, 93. He has to go through all the different appointments all day. Oh my God, it's such a good episode. Anyway, that made me think because July 31st. The next Tom Holland Spider-Man movie from Marvel Studios is titled Spider-Man Brand New Day, and it will arrive in theaters July 31st, 2026, and a new logo has been revealed. It's pretty straightforward. It just says Spider-Man Brand New Day. I wouldn't say like, "Oh my God, logo, what does it say about the movie?" It's very straightforward. It
Mhm.
is blue and red, Spider-Man lettering, Marvel Studios up top, white or not white, yellow Brand New Day underneath. That's it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I'm gonna be honest, I've said this in previous episodes, I'm not caught up with the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I said Superman, but I meant Spider-Man. Spider-Man movies, I gotta get caught up. I know how the last one ended, where he, like, erased or left MJ's memory erased, right, in the donut shop. I know how it ended, and he's, like,
Yep.
swinging through Rockefeller Center, and that was the big thing because they thought Hawkeye was gonna connect to that because it's at Christmas time. They thought he was gonna swing
Oh, yeah.
into the
Yeah.
Hawkeye series.
Yep.
He did not. I feel like at some point, maybe that was an option, but they just leaned away from it. Maybe based on that baseball card thing we talked about with the Russo brothers, where they're like, "Well, we only have 3 movies with this guy, and 2 movies with this guy, and 1 movie with this person."
Oh, very much. Yeah.
So they might have said like, "You know what? We're not gonna have Tom be in this one." But yeah, are you a big Spider-Man person? Do you want me to keep going with the other Spider-Man news and you can comment on both? Because there's more Spider-Man.
Uh, yeah, just quickly on this one first, I
Sure,
guess, because they're just in two different paths. But
they are.
I think so. We know, is it confirmed or has it just been reported? Remind me that Sadie Sink is in the new Spider-Man. Did she confirm that?
She did
But she didn't
confirm
say
it. She
who
didn't
she's
say she
playing,
was Jean
right?
Grey.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was it with Josh Horowitz. Yeah. So I think she is Jean Grey, especially if, um, I assume she's going to be playing a redhead. Um, and Zendaya is still playing that MJ in this movie. So they're not gonna introduce like, I think it'd be really dumb if they're like, and now we're multiversing again. Never mind, and
And
here's
this is a
another
different
MJ.
MJ.
So
Yeah.
and we dissected that whole thing with her and Josh Horowitz. Like I think she's definitely Jean Grey. It's no surprise that this movie's coming out a few months after Avengers Doomsday, which is gonna have the OG X-Men cast in it.
Has Tom been announced for Doomsday?
I don't think no, he hasn't.
He wasn't. Yeah.
So I don't think Spider-Man he might not appear in that. And there might be a reason and I'll explain why. But something's going to happen with whatever the other universe stuff, the multiverse stuff in Doomsday with the old X-Men that's going to launch us into younger new X-Men of the same characters and Sadie Sink's going to pick that up as Jean Grey in this Spider-Man movie.
Like
That's my
rebooting
guess.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So and the title Brand New Day, like I tried to look it up in connection with X-Men, and there have been previous X-Men series with the title New Day or Brand New Day, so that might be a part of why that's called that. Because there was the Home trilogy, and this might be a Day trilogy. I don't know how long Tom Holland's going to keep doing this, but as long as they write the checks, I guess. It's not a bad gig, especially if your fiance's doing it with you. Very cool. The logo I like. I know it's simple, but it has that classic throwback Spider-Man feel to it. It has the vibrant letters. It's
It
almost like
does.
they're picking off a piece of the vibe of what James Gunn's doing with Superman. The brightness, the
It does look like
vibrant.
Superman, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got the brightness. Obviously, the colors are similar, but I
It's the
like
shape
it
of the
because
words too, where it's wider at the ends and
yeah, it almost looks like the animated series version or some of the old school fonts for some of the comic runs. So it has that familiarity, like it catches my eye, so I like that. And Tom Holland is a very popular Spider-Man and he's carved this niche. And I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan, but I think he is the best so far. and I actually go in reverse order. I know you like Tobey's, but
I love
I think Andrew
Tobey.
Garfield is 2 and Tobey's 3. I'm not the biggest Tobey Maguire fan. I actually heard he's not that good of a guy, too. Bruce Campbell,
I've heard
did I
that
send that to
too,
you?
and it makes
Did
me
the
very sad. No, but I've heard that he's a terrible person. He's also dating like a 17-year-old or something. Like he's just not a good person. I've
a
heard
17-year-old? Let's not go
something.
say that if that's not true.
I feel like she's really young, maybe
Oh,
19, like really young.
well, Bruce Campbell tore into him at some fan convention, and he was tongue in cheek about it, and he wasn't direct, but he's like, "Oh yeah, Toby. Yeah, he's an interesting guy." And basically, I guess every time they started filming the new Spider-Man movie, which Bruce Campbell plays a different character in each one, like Toby was like apparently like a real douche to him, and Bruce Campbell's Sam
Oh,
Raimi's like best friend. So it's like, what is wrong with that guy? And you've heard other things over the years of
yeah.
him not being the friendliest guy.
I
So
mean,
I'm
there's
not here to
videos of him
roast.
snapping at
Yeah, I'm not
people.
here to
Yeah,
roast Tobey Maguire or anything like that. But
I'm
anyway,
sure part of it, if you were to break down my brain, is nostalgia. That's the first one I saw that has Stan Lee in it. I love Bonesaw. Like that whole sequence to me is so great. It's just so good.
got you for 3
Got your
minutes.
3 minutes. Bonesaw. I love that movie so much because everyone loves 2. I really love 1. I love the origin story stuff, and I just really like that one. And I also like Kirsten Dunst, and she's in that one.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I think Tom Holland does a fine job. I'm just not caught up on
It's
it.
gonna make $1 million. Yeah.
The Marvel movies, it's gotten to a point. It's just so overwhelming, and I think I tuned out a while ago. And I'm trying to get back into it and be optimistic. And I think the first one that's going to get me back into the theater to see something, because Endgame like really broke me. Like it was so sad. It wasn't. I didn't enjoy it. I left being like, I don't like this movie.
I thought
So
it
I feel
slogged
like
a lot.
it was just very sad. I don't understand why we've gotten to a point in pop culture that every franchise or ending has to be sad. And I'm so sick of hearing like, "Oh, it's sad, but it's hopeful." No, it's just effing sad. Like I don't need everybody to die all the time. It feels like every character has to die to end the story.
And
And
then come
going back
back.
yeah, and going back to James Gunn, by the way, he I've been holding on to this clip in my head for like 3 years now when he was talking about Guardians of the Galaxy at San Diego Comic-Con, and he said, "Sometimes the ending of a character doesn't mean death. It just means that they go on and do something else." And I'm like, "Thank you. Finally someone's saying the truth," which is like, we don't have to kill everybody off if you have no good ideas. Like, I don't know, call someone.
I kind of agree with that. I feel like that is such a trend now where they don't know how to
Oh
let the
my
character ride off
god,
into
they
the
just
sunset.
kill everybody.
Yeah. So I'm glad they didn't kill Indiana Jones. Like that would have been terrible.
I thought they were going to. I was watching that movie like they're gonna
He's
kill him
like
at the end.
bleeding out. He's in
I know.
Archimedes' time. I'm like,
You just
Indiana
see
Jones is gonna go back
snakes.
in the past and die
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah.
No.
No one will
Yeah.
ever know who he is. Yeah.
By the
So
way, did you see? Hold on, Harrison Ford
yeah,
riding the New York subway.
no, but if I saw him riding the subway, I'd be like, "Yo, man, what up?"
Either, yeah, like TMZ or whatever. Like he's just on the subway. He's waiting for the subway, and then I'm like nervous. I'm like, someone's gonna push Harrison Ford into the subway tunnel.
Oh, geez,
gonna,
don't say
like,
that.
I know, but that's where my brain goes because I'm so protective of the man. I mean, I met the man. I was brushed away from him. You know, we're friends now. So he's on the train and he's just talking to people. And he's chatting people up. You know, nice guy. He gets a bad reputation for being grumpy. He just hates dumb questions in interviews.
I don't think he's grumpy at all. I saw him at like when he just did the SAG
Him on
Awards.
Conan was amazing.
He's so funny. Be my friend, Harrison Ford. Anyway, Spider-Man. Back to Spider-Man. Different Spider-Man now. Spider-Man
Yes.
Beyond the Spider-Verse comes exclusively to theaters on June 4th, 2027. This is coming from Christopher Miller. So yeah, we're getting one Spider-Man in 2026. We're getting the next one 2027. I haven't seen the last one of these. I saw the first one. I loved it. Haven't seen the next
Same.
one. It's on my list. I heard it's really good. It's got like Nicolas Cage in it, a bunch of different Spider-Man. It's a multiverse. It kind of opened up the multiverse, I feel like, for Marvel. They saw this movie and were like, well, we could do all this multiverse stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, good for them. I think these movies in general are pushing boundaries and trend setting when it comes to animation, and have some of the most awesome cinematic shots in animation in a long
They're really
time.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really, really well done. So yeah, I'll probably check it out. Hopefully I see the other one before 2027.
Yeah, if Johnny starts getting into this stuff, or even Daisy, I mean, it's probably a cool theater experience. I don't like if they
Yeah.
don't, I don't know that I'll go to see it just myself, but if my kids start getting into it, by that time Johnny will be, Christ, he'll be almost 9. Oh my God.
I know, right?
Insanity. So
Yeah.
maybe, but it's two years away. But yeah, I mean, we like Christopher Miller. He was sort of directed one of my favorite Star Wars movies and then left. But those guys, they always seem to be like keep it real, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and I like
Mhm.
that. So and I'm glad they're still finding success after that disaster. But yeah.
Someone who's also constantly finding success is Keanu Reeves. Because who doesn't
I thought
like
you were gonna
Keanu
say
Reeves?
Ana de Armas.
I mean, her too, but Keanu Reeves is breathtaking. So he just has a really good career for himself. And recently, by the way, March 31st was the 26th anniversary of The Matrix. Can't believe it. In 26
Wow.
years. Yeah.
Jeez.
So John Wick 5 has been announced. Keanu Reeves will be returning, which I feel like I'm on a trend here. I'm still not caught up with all the John Wicks. I saw the first one. We were
Saw the first
questioning off
2.
air. Yeah, we were questioning off air. We believe he died.
Is he
Spoiler alert in the
dead?
last one. Is he dead? Is he coming
Was
back?
it a
What does this mean?
dream?
So Keanu Reeves joined the team for John Wick at CinemaCon alongside Anna de Armas in Ballerina. She was there to talk about Ballerina, which opens on June 6th, but they went there to announce that they're doing more John Wick. He's in John Wick 5. And then they're also doing an animated prequel film, which is Kane-centric standalone adventure from director-star Donnie Yen, who we know from Rogue One. Lots of stuff in the John Wick universe, which is so funny to me that this one movie that was such a big hit has become a cinematic universe, that they're like doing all these
Yeah.
things with it. Good for them. Good for Keanu Reeves. We know that he was offered a role in Star Wars, turned it down, has done Sonic. He plays Shadow, which has been a huge success. He was in Toy Story recently. Like, he can do no wrong. And I
Yeah.
love that for him. So we both admitted that we're not caught up. What are your thoughts on them expanding this universe? Do you think that's something you're going to get into? I'm really interested in the ballerina thing, even though I don't really know what her story is. I just love that actress.
Yeah, I can't comment on it because I haven't seen the movie with her character in it. I think I've only
Mhm.
seen the first 2 John Wicks, and I like them both. So I gotta
I just liked her
get
in
caught
James
up.
Bond.
I didn't see that one either. So
Oh, she was so good in James Bond. Like, her stunt work's amazing, that I remember turning to Matt and being like, "I wish I could get a movie just with her." And it seems like that's what Ballerina is. So I'm
mhm.
intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Keanu Reeves. He's one of the, real good guys in the movie industry, and I think it's genuine because everything you hear about him is just good stuff. The opposite of Tobey Maguire, perhaps. But yeah, and I like the John Wick movies I've seen. I like that they're very cognizant of, it's like the anti-80s action where, they keep track of how many rounds are left in the gun in the clip, so that when he changes it, it was after 12, and like they keep it the action. They're very serious about how they handle the action,
The
and
stunt work is insane in that movie. Yeah.
yeah, and the guy who made it is a former stuntman, so makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
So I am gonna get caught up. I am excited to see that they are continuing on, but to be determined in terms of Ballerina and the other stuff. I do like Ana de Armas. There's rumors that she's been cast in a new Tom Cruise movie, and she's been sort of maybe even arm in arm with him. So is she going to be in Top Gun 3? Does that mean? Is she going to be a Scientologist? We don't know. But what we do know is that she is talented, she's beautiful, and you're right. Like, I don't think when the first John Wick came out, it probably I remember seeing the trailer and thinking like, "Oh, Keanu Reeves is entering his B movie action era. That's kind of a bummer." And then they're
Mhm.
like, this is a global phenomenon now."
Yeah, it's a
So
juggernaut. Yeah.
you make action movies the right way and you cast a likable actor that you root for, I think you got a good recipe for success. So,
And if they're made by people that care. I feel like oftentimes
yeah.
the best
Yeah.
movies when like last week when we were talking about The Legend of Ochi, you can tell that the writer director cares about this movie. And I'm not saying that people don't care that make movies that suck because that's not true. What I'm saying is oftentimes the best movies that you see are the people that care a little bit more. That are,
Yeah.
like, living and breathing these movies, and, like, the fact that the movie was made by a stunt guy, like, he knows the ins and outs, he's an expert. So, of course, he's gonna be make the best stunt movie.
Yeah.
Also, I think this John Wick alone is a great argument for stunt work Oscar. Like, I don't understand why we don't have a stunt work Oscar yet. It's insane to me. The stuff that they do and the risks that they take and the things that they do to make the movie better, like, and put their body in harm's way, they should win an Oscar. Like, we do everything else. We do, makeup, everything else, so
You know why? Honestly, one of the only reasons why is they're not names, you know,
I
the
don't
way
even care about
directors
that. I
are.
don't
And
even think it should be an issue.
no, I'm not saying I do. I'm saying
Yeah,
that's probably why.
probably.
Yeah. Oh,
Speaking of names, yep,
yeah, go ahead. I was going to say that it ties in a little bit. Can I just do a quick one?
sure, go ahead.
So you're talking about stuntmen, you're talking about Hollywood. I thought this was an April Fool's joke, but I guess David Fincher is going to direct Brad Pitt once again in a sequel to Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and
Yes,
DiCaprio may return for it, and
yep.
Tarantino wrote it. Now, as far as I know, and I believe this is 100% correct, this will be the first time Tarantino has written a script by himself that someone else will direct, because he has his eyes on his other Final 10th movie. So they're like a Tarantino movie getting a sequel that he's not directing is so interesting to me because it's my favorite Tarantino movie. And I saw recently he was on Howard Stern and he said Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is his favorite movie of his own. So the fact that he's handing it off feels like very George Lucas to me a little bit. But he's still writing it, and I'm sure he's going to be like looking over Fincher's shoulder. But he's a great director in his own right. But I just want to throw that out there because Brad Pitt plays, the stuntman. So
Yeah, people were freaking out about that because they were like, "What?"
I thought it was baloney. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a real thing. But like I said, speaking of names, we got the 4 names of the people that are playing the Beatles in a 4-movie cinematic event, which arrives April 2028, so we're a ways away, being described as the first bingeable cinematic experience, and it is for the Beatles. We have Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney, Harris Dickinson as John Lennon, Joseph Quinn, who's upcoming in Fantastic Four as Johnny, as George Harrison, and Barry Cogan as Ringo Starr, which Barry is most known for the guy that cheated on Sabrina Carpenter. You moron.
Is that what he's most known for, or to
Yes.
you? Yeah.
I
Mm.
think recently to most people.
Mm.
Just because Sabrina Carpenter has kind of taken off in the last year. But he's probably most known for what's that movie? Saltburn
Yeah,
with the
and he's gonna
bathtub and the
be the
grave and
Joker in the Batman 2 because he was at the end
Ye
of that movie
I
of
think
Batman.
people know him more from Saltburn.
Yeah, oh yeah, probably. But
Yeah.
once he's the Joker, like I'm sure anyone who plays the Joker like gets notoriety,
Well,
for good
he
or
is
for
a
bad.
joker because I love
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter, so he's a big joker.
Mm.
Anyway, so the Beatles. You love the Beatles. I like the Beatles too, but I feel like you definitely love them to a level
Mm-hmm.
that does not match my own love. Uh, How do you feel about a 4-movie cinematic event?
I don't know. Like, that's a lot of
I
money,
think
first of all.
yes, that's a lot of money. I think if my understanding is correct, which it might not be, they're probably gonna shoot all 4 of these movies at the same time and then
Hmm.
just do 4 separate cuts of the same movie. Is that the plan? Because that seems like what they're doing, is, like, they're gonna have all 4 of these guys together doing the Beatles story, shoot separate scenes at times with each actor that relates to their movie, but then all the movies intertwine. So when you see one movie, you get one point of view, but then when you watch the other movie, you're gonna get the same scenes, but then additional scenes to get their point of view.
I don't know if I would like that. I
I feel like that's what it is.
But that feels like it's going to sort of like circumvent what I'm looking for, which is just sort of like, let me be a fly on the wall for the ride of the Beatles, the way that we got with, Get Back, which, the Peter Jackson remake of the Let It Be documentary, for the full 9 years, because there's a lot of chunk of time there. You had the teeny bop craze when they first came over and they had the shag haircuts, and like, my grandpa was a security guard, or well, he was a police officer, sorry, but he was working security at a Beatles concert, which was indoors in Brooklyn, and he said he like couldn't hear for a week after all the screaming,
That's
not 'cause of the
permanent.
music.
That's permanent hearing damage.
Well, he's still around. He's 95 and he can still hear. So,
I'm just
he-
saying that if you do that a lot, it's permanent hearing damage.
Oh, trust me, I know. A lot of metal shows. But needless to say, I want to see that era. I want to see them go through the tough times, the struggle between Paul and John. I want to see all of that dramatized in a way where I feel like I'm a fly on the wall. So I hope that's sort of what they do. I don't know all the details, but I imagine it's not going to be something like, this is John's movie and this is Paul's movie and this is George's movie and this is Ringo's movie. I hope it's more of a, these years, then these years, then these years, and these years. But we'll see. It's
Oh,
interesting.
yes. So you're
Yeah.
thinking that they're doing it like Andor, where every movie is like an era.
It's a chunk of time during their run. Yeah. And it'll probably cover
Oh
things.
my God. I totally thought it was each guy gets his own movie. I don't know why I thought
No.
that.
Yeah, because, I mean,
It's got to be because
that's
bingeable
a
means
tough sell.
back to back. So then
And
it
we're going
has
to do
to
a
be.
Ringo movie. They're going to be like,
So that means they're doing. Yeah. So that means it's going to be basically an 8-hour miniseries that they're presenting as a movie.
yeah. So the first movie is probably going to be their youth in UK,
Origin.
Beatlemania coming to the US. The second will be the just the complete shift in culture of the 60s and how they evolved with that, and they
Yeah.
got experimented into drugs, and they went to India, then their struggles, Yoko comes into the picture, John and Paul not getting along, George quits the band, then they get back together and they make some of their best final records, and it'll probably end with them on top of the studio of what was the studio? Apple Studios. But when they played on the roof and they did like a full concert, their final concert. And then maybe it'll show stuff like about John Lennon's death and everything that came thereafter. But I really do think it's going to be some sort of chronological thing versus here's George's movie and Ringo's, because
No,
people are going to be like,
yeah.
I'll go see the Lennon movie. I'll see the McCartney movie. Probably the George movie, but I'm not going to see the Ringo movie. And I like Ringo Starr. He's great. But, yeah.
This next story is probably the one that I'm the most excited about this past week, which is Sydney Sweeney is circling the Gundam movie at Legendary. So it's going to be based on the Mobile Suit Gundam series, which started in 1979, which is an anime series out of Japan, which is interesting because we're going to Japan next week. But she's in her final negotiations to star in the live action movie, which is going to be worked on by Legendary. Legendary, interestingly enough, did Pacific Rim, which was kind of like Gundam. They're like the mobile suit Gundams, but
Okay.
this is specific to that. So this is an anime series that's been around for a really long time. It's super popular in Japan. I mean, they have the gigantic suit that was up for a long time that like moved and stuff at certain hours of the day, and people went to see it, and they're really collectible. Gundam merchandise is like a big money maker. People love those. Um, it's something that I watched when I was younger. It was on a segment called Toonami on Cartoon Network back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It would come on right after school at like 4 o'clock. And it's such a good series. I was watching the later series, not the 70s one, like more like the 80s, 90s version, which had a character hero, and then he was involved with this girl Relena, and it was basically like a war movie. But one of the big clips that always goes around on social media that's very popular is this clip from Gundam Wing where they his character is at a school, like a private school, and the character Relena is like the popular girl, and she goes up to him and she goes, "I'd like to invite you to my party," because he's like new at the school, and he just looks at her and takes the thing and rips it up, and then he like leans into her and just goes, "I'm gonna kill you," and like walks away.
What?
And but it's like this popular clip in the sense that out of context, it makes no sense, but in context, it does make sense because he's
Mhm.
there to like assassinate her. She's a very big political figure. Like, anyway, but out of context, it's hilarious because people often post this and go, show this to someone that doesn't like anime and tell them this is why you like anime as like a joke to be like,
Gotcha.
and it has like the whole like cherry blossoms fall across the screen, and the music's like dun 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 dun, and she's like so shocked. She's like, oh, so it's like, I don't know, it's just really funny. Anyway, I'll have to send that to you, John. But I'm super pumped about this story. Legendary does great work with these kind of sci-fi movies as we've seen before. I love Sydney Sweeney. I think she's great. I think this would be a really cool movie. I'm interested to see who else is involved.
Yeah, I
Is
don't
this
know
something that
much
excites
about
you or not
Gundam.
really?
No, it doesn't excite me only because I don't really know what Gundam is. Well, maybe all of a sudden I become a big Gundam fan. If I had to guess, I'd probably not. But I mean, dang it, Sydney Sweeney is just so darn talented. It's hard to ignore it. So I just feel like she's a draw. She's a draw. You want to see her on the big screen. She just has that presence, and I think she can put butts in the seats. So I think it'll
I
be
have Gundam
successful.
on
I
Blu-ray if
think
you want to borrow it.
it will. Perhaps is she in it?
No, the anime.
No, yeah, I'm down to check it out, but I think that she's a rising star, and there's also been reports that she's reconnected with Glen Powell recently after calling off
Oh
her
my
wedding.
gosh. Yes. So she called off her wedding to this guy who was 41 years old, which I'm not surprised. Like, you figure out you want to just, change your life.
Go on.
I'm saying in your late 20s, when you're at pretty much the peak of your career, you might want to reevaluate settling down and getting married when you're about to do it. Also, if you know Glen Powell, maybe you don't want to get married right now. Anyway, she went to Glen Powell's sister's wedding and she looked amazing, and we'll see what happens. But I'm rooting for them because I love both of them. And I feel like this would be an epic couple. Like, we're talking like powerhouse 90s couple.
Are we talking Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn?
Probably.
Are we talking Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams, which didn't end
Ooh.
the way people wanted?
No, I want them to be happy.
Hmm.
And Glen Powell seems like a really down to earth guy. He lives in like Austin, Texas. He's like chill. I hope
Yeah.
it works out for them. Anyway,
Yeah.
in other news, this guy made quite a splash this year at the Super Bowl. Kendrick Lamar is making a comedy movie with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. It's been moved to spring 2026. It was supposed to come out July of this year, and it's moved to next year, which doesn't surprise me. I'm going to be honest, a lot of movies have been moving around. What are you laughing about?
I'm just thinking about I'm pretending in my head them making the decision to move it, and they just looked at everything that was coming out, like Fantastic Four and Superman, and Matt Stone was probably like, "Fuck this, we're moving it to fucking
My
March."
God, language.
Oh yeah, well, right.
Just dropping them hot.
Well, it's the South
Jeez
Park guys. I'm
Louise.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway, they said of the story this movie last year, they said, quote, "It was one of the funniest and most original scripts we've ever read." And we will see what comes of it. But right now, the big story is basically that it moved, which to me is not surprising. But Matt Stone and Trey Parker are making more news outside of this, which I will. Will you see this movie, Kendrick Lamar?
Yes. Yes.
I think Kendrick Lamar is so insanely talented.
Oh, it's fine that he's in it. But anything Trey Parker and Matt Stone make, I am seeing.
I mean them too,
I
but I'm
still-
saying he's great.
I still want to go to Casa Bonita.
Oh my God, we should go.
Clayton's got to invite me out to Colorado. Clayton, I
We
know you
should
don't listen
go.
to this podcast probably, but invite us out, Colorado.
I'm telling you, we should go to Casa Bonita.
How about Celebration Denver, and then we go to Casa
I've
Bonita?
said that before.
I know.
That
because the original one was there, right?
Because the original was in Denver. Yeah, I'd love
Yeah.
it to be in Denver. Why don't we get into some trailers? Because these guys are coming up in trailer time.
Let's get into trailer.
Oh God, I love that movie.
Just singular.
Yeah. It's trailer time because today it's just trailer. And the trailer is The Return of the Kings. We were just talking about them, but what put them on the map? South Park, season 27. South Park has been around since 1997, 98.
Insane.
And here they come with the next season as I don't want to say as driven as ever, but they pull no punches, and it's clear by this trailer what they're going after, and it's to no surprise of anyone. But it looks like the way Garrison sort of became Donald Trump, Randy Marsh is now becoming Elon Musk, and that is so funny because Randy Marsh is such a great character because he's such a dopey loser, and I love him.
The fact that he's like, I'm gonna go do some ketamine and destroy the government.
I'll be back. Yeah, and I just think like the thing about Trey Parker and Matt Stone, even as rich as they are now and how long they've been around, and they probably get a little tired of doing some of this stuff, they fear nothing and they do say what they want to say, and
They have nothing to lose.
and hit whoever they want to hit. And I
Yeah.
love them for it. They are the ultimate punk rockers still around in this space. And that's why I kind of like that they're working with Kendrick Lamar, not to go back to that, because
He's the same way.
he's the same exact way. And I think what they're going to do together is probably going to be pretty unique and special to live action comedy. But we're going back to their bread and butter here for South Park season 27, which that's what I love about South Park is no one ever really, at least I don't, and I'm a big South Park fan, knows like, are they making new South Park? Are they working on one? And then they're just like, we made it. It's, it's going to be coming out on July 9th. So I'm super excited about that. I don't have Paramount Plus, but I do have access to Max because I share it with my parents. And I give them our Hulu, and it's like
Don't announce
trade
that out
deals.
loud.
Yeah. Well,
Disney really
whatever.
Cracked down, by the way. They're like real serious now.
Yeah,
Disney.
very serious. Yeah. So I think this is a great trailer. I laughed already. I like that some of their warfare special effects are like their classic thing where they use like real-time looking explosions but still have the cheesy character animation. I love when they do that stuff. So I'm all about it. I've been saying for a while that South Park doesn't even need to write their new episodes, and it looks like I might be right. But again, just like Superman, for me, and needing humor about political unrest and the political climate of today, regardless of, I don't care what, who you voted for or whatever, I need these guys, and they're coming out at the right time. So July is going to be a nice therapy for me from an entertainment perspective with Superman, South Park, and whatever else is coming out. But I'm pumped, and to the surprise of no one. So I know you also like South Park, but what do you think of
I
this
do.
trailer? And what do you think about the topics that they're teasing here?
I mean, they're teasing everything that's in the news right now, which is funny to me because that's what they've always done. But years ago, I think it was like probably COVID time, they came out and said, like, we can't even make jokes anymore because the stuff that's happening in real life is more ridiculous than the jokes we're writing.
Right.
So it's no surprise that they're talking about Canada, they're talking about the government, they're talking about Elon Musk taking ketamine because everybody knows he's doing it. Because he looks so drugged out. I love it. I think it's hilarious, and hopefully Americans and Canadians can have a good laugh at this because I think we all need a good laugh right now. And I think
Yes. Yeah.
also
Yeah.
it will help that someone is poking fun at this stuff, because if there's anything I've seen in recent months is that the people that they're poking fun at take things very seriously. They're very sensitive. So I'm interested to
Very
see what
sensitive.
happens when these
Yeah.
jokes come out. But yeah, oh my god, they're so funny. I love South Park. I love basketball. That would like Steve Perry has been like one of my quotes that I always say like my whole life. Like Steve Perry. It's like
Oh yeah. And it should have
one of
been
my
go. Yeah.
it's just so good. It's just so funny. Yeah, I would definitely watch this. I would watch it when it comes out. I'm
Nice.
definitely interested also in the Kendrick Lamar thing just because his Super Bowl performance where he called out Drake was so funny to me that
Mm-hmm.
it's like petty with petty, but in the
Yeah.
hilarious way that like they don't care. They don't care that you're mad. They don't
Right.
care that you're upset. They think it's hilarious that they got the reaction out of you. So you know this season is gonna be over the top.
Oh yeah. There's gonna be weird things happening between Randy Marsh and Mr. Garrison.
I'll never forget the most recent South Park episode I resaw was the episode that they were trying to save the whale.
Oh my god. The orca? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, I
Uh
lost it.
that was
Anyway,
sad actually.
so
Dump
messed
on the
up.
moon.
So
I think there was
messed
a later either I don't think it was a video game. I think there was a later episode of South Park where something happened where something went by the moon and you saw like the bones of the orca
Oh
on the
my god. So messed up. Anyway, let's get into what we're watching.
Let's do it.
We can never leave the house, and we'd just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
So messed up.
All right. You go first this week.
All right. So, first up with my kids, I've been watching Thomas and Friends, the classic version. So, fun fact, on Amazon Prime, you can do a PBS subscription, and they have the whole library of all the shows that I used to watch when I was little. And while I love Bluey, I love it. I've watched through all the Bluey episodes probably like, I'm not even joking, like 37 times. So my daughter needed something a little slower. So last week we talked about how we watched Mr. Rogers. She really loves that. He talks through different processes. They have the videos where they go to
Yeah.
the factories and show how things are made. She loves that. So we turned on Thomas just to see if she'd like it. And my son loves it. He's obsessed.
Nice.
Loves the theme song, dances around to it. Very much loves Thomas. I thoroughly enjoy Thomas too. Like the amount of work that goes into the models of the train models and the shots that they set up that are like very kind of like rule of thirds, cinematic. They like shoot through tunnels and they have
Yeah.
like water and animals and trees and smoke and lighting. It's so well done. We've been watching the George Carlin ones where he
Nice.
does the voice work and he's so good. They just switched to Alec Baldwin in the episodes and
Alec Baldwin.
he does the
Would you
narrating.
the conductor, right?
So it's not Shining Time Station with like the conductor. It's just the stories with the voiceover.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Alec Baldwin at some point took over the role of the voiceover and he does a fine job because he's a good actor. He does the voices and everything. But I got to say George Carlin is just so good. Like he has such a good narration voice that as soon as the switch happened, I like was sitting there and I was like, "Who is this? This isn't
Mhm.
George." And then at the end, it was like voiced by Alec Baldwin. I was
Were
like,
there any Ringo ones or no?
not the ones that I saw, but what I'm watching currently is like a collection. Like they took it and they did a collection of like all these shorter kind of stories. Cause you know how the Shining Time Station thing, they did the station part and then they'd show the story
Yeah,
and then they go back.
exactly.
Yeah, they cut the stories out and it's just the stories, which I like. But it's all the
Oh,
model
okay.
trains. And nowadays they have the new Thomas, which is all computer animation. Not as good. Not good.
Yeah.
The other thing I watched was the first 3 episodes of $1 Million Secret on Netflix. I needed to fold some laundry, so I threw it on. And it's a game show where they give someone $1 million, and then everybody basically has to figure out who the $1 million millionaire is. And it's kind of like a Survivor. You get voted off if you have the money, and then if you don't, you could trick people off, etc. It's petty, it's drama, it's fine if you're folding laundry. Is it the best show I've ever watched? No, but I did have to laugh. Am I going to spoil it right now? Are you going to watch this?
Maybe. So
Okay, I won't spoil it then.
Other people might too,
Yeah, well, they can tune out if they don't want to know the details.
Whoa.
That's not me I'm just saying, like, it gets boring if I just keep saying, well, you should see it. And it's like I don't talk about any of the details of what the show is. It's funny.
Well, yeah,
There's a
but
lot of
yeah.
personalities and
Yeah.
I guess if you're gonna watch it, we could talk about it once you watch it, but people make bad decisions. Like they make stupid gameplay strategic decisions that anybody that loves reality TV would be like, why would you ever do that? And like if you're known to be one person, then the next day you're like, I'm actually not that person. It's like you can't do that. Everybody thinks you're person A. You can't do that. And last but not least, I watched The Studio, which we've talked about previously through trailers, etc., with Catherine O'Hara and Seth Rogen. I watched the first 2 episodes. I believe it comes out weekly. It's been kind of my pick me up after Severance ended. So sad about it. And it's very, very good. It is so funny. Seth Rogen is so good in it. It's beautifully shot. The acting's amazing, not just Seth, but everybody involved. Catherine Hahn steals the show. Like any scene she's in, she's so good.
Really?
Yeah, she's so funny. She plays this marketing executive and she talks in like Gen Z speak. Oh, she's ridiculous.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Catherine O'Hara plays this like manic studio executive who's like past her prime, but knows a lot. So she's like kind of talking down to Seth Rogen's character. A lot of cameos. Yeah, a lot of cameos. The first episode, you see Martin Scorsese. Then you see Ron Howard in the most recent episode, who honestly might get a guest Emmy for his work in this episode. It is so over the top ridiculous.
Excellent.
That I saw it and I was like, oh, look, it's Ron. And I was like, oh, it's Ron. So I strongly suggest seeing it. It's one of those shows kind of like Seinfeld where it starts with one piece and it builds and it builds and it builds. And then it gets to the point that you're like, oh my God, all these pieces are now meeting at the same point. Like the payoff is there by the end of the episode that you're like, what did I just watch? And there's a lot of one shots. Like there was one shot in the episode before the last one where you had Seth Rogen's character in his car and the camera's on the front of the car. He gets to his location after driving for a couple minutes, gets out of the car. The camera gets up off the car, comes around the car while Seth's going the other way of the car and comes this way behind him at the back of the car. And by the time the camera gets to the back of the car, whatever rig was on the front of the car is gone.
That's nice.
Like the blocking is insane in this show. The way that they like work the camera angles and they're constantly moving. And there's a lot of shots that go on for minutes before there's a cut.
That's really cool.
Insane.
Yeah, so I gotta check it out.
Definitely check it out.
Very cool. All right. I am obviously watching baseball. The Yankees are back. It's always good for baseball to be back. I love the fact that baseball's on almost every day. It's usually at nighttime, after work. watch a ball game. I just love it. I love the Yankees. I'm so glad they're back.
How do you feel about the torpedo bats?
Well, I like it because it makes me be able to easily identify people who don't know anything about baseball or baseball bats. So that's cool. You know.
I feel like that's such a hot button topic online. People are like, blah, bats. I'm like, you don't even like baseball.
Yeah, here's the thing. People were using them last year. It literally just shifts part of the wood down towards the handle more instead of at the very end of the bat. And that's the only difference. There's nothing doctored about it. They're 100% legal. It's just engineers were like, why would we put the same size of the wood max width at the very end of the bat? We could shrink that slightly because anything you get off the end of that anyway, usually nothing good happens. So we'll move that weight more towards the handle where sometimes people get jammed on inside pitches and we'll see what happens. So to be determined on the results, but it's a
I saw a
non-issue.
post.
And anyone who talks about it as though it is doesn't know what they're talking about.
I saw a post that one of the coaches at the Yankees invented that bat. Like he was a NASA engineer and a scientist and got a PhD from MIT and then decided to quit his career and become a baseball bat guy.
Yeah, he's not one of the coaches, but he's definitely someone can like either a part of the organization or whatever. They have so many people. All these teams have all these people who are doing all these
But
data
he invented the
research and all
bat
this
though.
stuff.
Yeah.
He came up with the idea, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Aaron Judge doesn't even use it. So the funniest part was Aaron Judge hit 3 home runs in one game
Yeah, I
already
saw
this
that.
year.
Yeah.
And people were like, "It's that bat," and I'm like, "He doesn't use it, you dummies." And they're like, "Oh, so he's just the best baseball player?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, he is."
Yeah, he is.
Still watching Raw. WrestleMania is coming up at the end of the month. Actually, the week after we get back from Japan, and it's going to be in Vegas, I think. But CM Punk, who's been a wrestler, he was probably there when you were there.
He was there. I know him.
Yeah,
I've talked to him numerous times.
he seems like a nice guy.
He's nice.
He's been there for well, he left for a while, but he's been doing this for so long and he never main evented WrestleMania, and he's finally getting to main event WrestleMania, so that's cool. John Cena's doing his full heel turn thing, and they're really letting these guys like chip at each other with the mic. It's not like scripted in the way it was during the later Vince years where people knew exactly what they were saying. So Cody Rhodes, who's the current champ, who's Cena's facing at WrestleMania, where if Cena wins, he has the most championships out of anyone ever in professional wrestling history, passing Ric Flair. So it's this big deal. But Cody's he attacked Cody for being this sort of made guy who doesn't really deserve it, and they take real shots at each other, though through character. And then Cody retorts, which made this crowd in London, which we know how London crowds can be. We were there. They were like, "Oh," and what he said was, "You call me, not a real wrestler. I'm from a wrestling family. If anything, you're the one who's the corporate chosen boy because you were put here by a guy sitting behind a desk who isn't here anymore, who we're not allowed to talk about." Vince McMahon. And the crowd was like, "Oh." So that was pretty cool. And you could almost see Cena wanting to smile because it was such a good burn, but he held his bad face. But anyway,
Cody was there
when
when
watch that.
Showing my age a little bit. Cody was there when he was in NXT, I think.
Yeah.
He was
and then
he was just getting there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, him and DiBiase's kid. And then I'm watching White Lotus, which I know by the time this comes out, the finale aired last night. So I'm up to the one right before that. And the S is about to hit the fan, and we'll see where this season's chips fall. But I'm liking it. It's entertaining. Some of it's a bit dragged out with some of the characters, but it's White Lotus, and you just go for the ride and all the horniness and all the craziness and suspected murderers and all that fun stuff that goes with that show. So I'm having a good time with it. And Walton Goggins, the guy's so good. And so is Carrie Coon, by the way. She is a really good actor. I feel like I'm watching a real person on vacation. She's really.
Is that the person the girl that's one of the the 3 women that go on vacation together and she sleeps with the guy and then it ends up he's got a wife or something and she runs out the window?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was in the Ghostbusters reboot as the mom. like Egon's
Oh,
daughter.
yeah. They
Yeah.
announced recently that they're not paying her to come back from Marvel. Like, they refuse to pay her.
I heard that too, and that's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the movie's gonna make
Ridiculous.
God amount of money, and all the money's probably going to Robert Downey Jr. So, anyway, that's it for me, and that's it for what you're watching, and that's it for the show. So, thanks everybody for listening, watching, getting nerdy with us on a Monday. We have no episode next week because we will be in Japan, as Lacey alluded to before. So, no TRB this week either. A rare break for the two of us, but it's because we're about to get launched right into the tornado of Star Wars Celebration, where we'll be busier than ever for that week, but also finding time to get away, experience Japan and all that stuff. But little break for us here, but we'll be back, of course, with you as always. So thanks to everyone who's been supporting this show. We're already almost at 50 episodes, and we launched less than a year ago, so it's been really cool, and we're seeing the audience pick up with this show, and we can't thank you enough. So keep telling your friends if you like us for TRB, if you like us just for this show, spread the word, please, and share our stuff on social media. Follow us, Nerdy and Nice Pod, and on your audio apps, specifically Apple and Spotify. And if you could rate us, that'd be awesome too. 5 stars would be cool. Thank you all so much. Got to give a special shout out to also trbpodcast.com for Nerdy and Nice merch too. Thank you. Shout out to the Movie Star Generals on our Patreon. We can't thank these folks enough. Carmelo, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Danny, Mike Ramori, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, Sachi, and Darth Snips. And our Spice Runners on Patreon. The Silver Screen Runners are David Probus, Neil SHAH, Kendall Gelner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, THEFORTWORTHIAN, and Brian Smith. And everyone, however you support us, whether it's through TRB, Resistance Broadcast, Nerdy and Nice, or both, thank you all so much. Lacey, where can people chat you up on social media?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran. And I do want to just say that before you go and use the Ghibli filter on AI, remind yourself what has been stolen to make that filter possible. That was a hot topic this week. Everybody was doing the Ghibli trend. Don't do it. They stole people's art to make that filter. Just heads up. Which other news? They released Princess Mononoke this week, and it earned $1.2 million domestically. So G-Kids VP of distribution said, in a time when technology tries to replicate humanity, we're happy that people are enjoying the movie.
Right on.
That value the theatric experience of the movie is what they said. So I just want to bring that up. I meant to bring that up earlier, but man, AI is the worst.
Yeah, it's a interesting thing to keep an eye on as it escalates for sure. For me, Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky. A lot of baseball tweeting over on X if you're still down with that. I get 0 engagement now because I trash politicians who own it.
I feel like nobody gets any engagement there unless you're
oh, it's brutal.
pretty
It's
online.
brutal. It's brutal. That's where I do all my S posting about baseball and stuff. And then my movie pod, Just Like the Movies, will be back also after I'm back from Japan. I believe we're gonna do The Dark Knight Rises to finish out.
Oh,
the Bale
awesome.
Batman stuff. Yeah. But that's it for us. Little break, but we will be filming stuff for Nerdy and Nice in Japan as well.
We're going to
and
Disney.
sharing things along the way there. So we'll be doing some Nerdy and Nice stuff actually while we're in Japan. But for anyone who's going to Japan is listening to this, we'll see you there. And like I said, for people who've been listening to the show, thank you so much. And we'll be back with you very soon right here on Nerdy and Nice. So until next time, I'll see you around, kids.